So praying with people of a different faith, let's say even Protestants, like my own family at the dinner table, how can I?
Everybody handles that a little bit different. I had a discussion, a very difficult discussion, with someone who wants to become Orthodox, but their spouse doesn't, and wants to continue going to their church. And I said, when you put your hand to the plow, you don't look back. If you say that Orthodoxy is true, and I want to be an Orthodox Christian, so become a catechumen is not, I'm going to try it out, right? It's not like I'm going to see if it's for me. Being a catechumen is a equivalent to becoming betrothed. In the ancient times, no one does that anymore. But if you're betrothed, that means you intend to get married, right? Well, I guess engaged too. You might get engaged and get married, 8 months later. You intend to get married. Now, nobody's going to say, I want to get engaged to you, but I still think we should see other people. They're not going to do that, right? Well, maybe people would do that, I'm sure. Nowadays, who knows what people will do. But of course, that's bizarre, right? If I want to marry you, you're the only one for me, and I'm the only one for you. So that's the same thing in Orthodoxy. If I believe that Orthodoxy is true, then that means I don't want to participate in worship in the other places. And that's a matter of going to church and praying with them, etc. Now, if somebody dies, go to the funeral. If somebody gets married, you go to the marriage. But if I were to go to a marriage of somebody in the family, they might say, oh, would you preach for us? I would say, no. I wouldn't do it. That sort of thing. I would be present and I would pray, but I would pray privately. I wouldn't participate. I wouldn't sing the songs and things like that. That would be my suggestion if you go to a funeral or marriage. If you have a spouse and they want to go to their church while you're going to your church and you alternate, I would say that's not true. That's not correct. It's not correct. Because if you believe Orthodoxy is the true church, then, well, why would you want to do something that's untrue? Not to insult anybody, but it's like, I don't agree with the way that you do things at your church now. I don't agree with the interpretation that there's no priesthood or there's no Eucharist or that, or whatever, the various things that are believed in a Protestant or Roman Catholic assembly. I don't agree with all of them. So I would not recommend going back and forth to churches. But I would say certainly for if you go to a wedding or a funeral, because that's in many ways also a social obligation. We should be kind to people. To say, oh, I'm becoming Orthodox. Mom, Dad just died. I can't go to his funeral. That would not be right. That would not be love. But to say, I just go to the funeral, I don't pray openly, right? I don't like, you want to preach or something. I don't want to preach. That's my recommendation. That's a high bar for a lot of people. It's difficult. People are so accustomed in this world that everything's okay. Okay? Oh, we believe in Jesus. Everything's okay. Well, but some things are like either they're contradictory, right? If we believe that the Lord said, this is my body and this is my blood, you must eat and drink it or you don't have life in you. And other people say, this is a representation, this is a reenactment, this is a remembrance, but it's not really the body and blood of Christ, because after all, that's kind of weird, Well, are those faiths the same? They're not the same. I respect that people believe something different, but I don't believe they're correct. So I wouldn't participate at all in their sacrament, and I wouldn't. So if I went to a wedding and let's say they have some sort of Eucharist beforehand, I wouldn't participate in it. Right? Yes, ma'am.
So, like you said, people are praying the way that they're going to pray, and maybe they'll just stand there respectfully, and listen. But if they ask us to pray, maybe a good thing to do is to pray Our Father, because most people believe in Jesus Christ pretty well, and they'll join it.
Oh yeah, I think if somebody asks me to pray for a meal, I pray the Our Father.
Yeah.
And I actually give a blessing. And sometimes I see people and their eyes start to roll. They go, what is going on? But I just go ahead and go do it. My family liked to hold hands. I never did that. To me, that's like, I'm agreeing with you. And it might think he's being weird. I'm sorry. I have a right to my body autonomy, my body, my choice, right? So I'm going to make a choice not to hold hands. And so, if people are offended, I don't want anybody to be offended. I'm not trying to be offensive, but you have a right to, holding hands means we're all believing the same, doesn't it? I mean, to me, that's what it means. So I don't do that. If your family does that, you have to decide if that's the kind of thing that you're comfortable with or not. I'm not going to label somebody an apostate if they go hold hands on Thanksgiving, but I just never did.